My greetings. Today's mini grammar tutorial is going to deal with tenses and very specifically the differences between the past perfect and the past perfect continuous. Now let's start with the past perfect. Now let's consider the following example first. I had been working for 6 hours on the computer when the electricity switched off. As you can see, when followed by action 2 and then we have action 1 here. Why past perfect continuous? Simply, let's read. The past perfect continuous had been working is used to refer to actions working that were in progress working before these actions were interrupted by another action switched off event or an action in the past. And the past continuous is performed over a period of time for 6 hours. For 6 we call that duration. We call that a duration. And these time indicator since, for, all, and during would show you that. Now, however, the past perfect is completely different. It is used if the second action took happened after the completion of the first action had worked. And as you can see, there is no time duration like for, since, all, and during. Now let's consider the past perfect and past perfect continuous structure. The past perfect had plus verb 3. Had studied, had slept, had driven. Past perfect continuous, had been plus ing, had been sleeping, had been studying, had been driving. Again, these are the two examples that I have given you earlier. Okay, let's go down to more examples. Always look for the duration. I had been working for 6 hours when the electricity switched off. Because I had been working since the early morning, again, since the early morning, duration. Decided to take an early lunch break. Salim had been working in the local store for 3 years, the duration, before he started his own business. When the company's bus arrived, I had been waiting in the rain for more than 30 minutes, duration. That's why we used had been waiting, past perfect continuous. I had to have a break and a snack because I had been driving for so long, duration. Before I parked my car at the mall's garage, I had collected the ticket, no duration. When I woke up in the morning, it had been snowing all night, duration. The family arrived to the old castle after they had been walking for hours, duration. The frightened kid called the police after he had seen a light in the mall, or the hall actually, no duration. That's why past perfect. I was really hungry because I hadn't eaten anything from the early morning, no duration. That's why past perfect. I didn't go to work because I had caught a cold. Again, no duration, had caught, past perfect. When I moved, okay, that's action 2. My next door neighbors had been living there for 2 years in the neighborhood. That's action, had been living, past perfect continuous, duration. This is a duration. Now, the two managers had signed the contract before the meeting ended, no duration. No duration. Before it's followed by action 2, preceded by action 1, past perfect. The athlete was so sweaty and tired because he had been running for 2 hours. That's a duration. Past perfect continuous. Okay? The family wanted to fly to Istanbul because they had never traveled by plane before. No duration. Because followed by action 1, preceded by action 2. That's simple. The careless driver had an accident. That's action 2. Because he had been driving for a long time. For a long time. Duration. Or you could say too fast for a long time. That's much better. The kids were so hungry because they had been playing football all day. That's duration. Had been playing, past perfect continuous. They were so tired. That's action 2. He had been, because we were so tired actually. We had been walking all the way. That's what action, that's a duration. Now let's consider the following examples. Now always look for duration and keywords like, because, after, and so on. Omar was Ali's best friend. He had been knowing him all his life. Now, as for the verb know, you cannot add ing. It's a non-continuous verb. We're going to talk about these in a coming tutorial. Okay? So now, again, we can't use had been knowing. The workers were wet and cold because in the rain, no duration, had worked. The children were very hungry because they had not eaten. Again, no duration. That's perfect. I was happy when I found my keys. I for them since the morning. That's a duration. Had been looking. The secretary was so exhausted because she, since 10 o'clock this morning, had been working. Everything was white because during the night, that's a duration, it had been snowing. The flight passengers were very mad because the airline, no duration, had lost. I Selma for several years, but I recognized her immediately when I saw her in the wedding yesterday. Although you should be using the past perfect continuous, but the verb see is a non-continuous verb. That's why we should use past perfect, had not seen. Omar passed all his exams because he, non-stop for a month duration, had been revising. They finished making Layla's dress a week before the wedding before here, okay? So for over a month duration had been making. I want to see my friend in hospital. You don't say the hospital because you're a visitor. But your friend is in the hospital. He is sick. He's a patient. He, during a football match, although you could shoot like you during, but this is not a time indicator. So you can't say breaking. You say had broken. Okay? You can't use it in the past perfect continuous. It should be used in the past perfect. Everyone enjoyed the family celebration. Layla and her daughters, all the food themselves. No specific duration. All here is not followed by time indicator like all year, all week. That's why we should use had made. And now, my uncle passed his driving test. Okay, he 3 times already, no indication of any duration, had taken. Okay, and finally, I received a letter from Layla yesterday. She, since last year, that's a duration. You'd say had been promising. Okay, finally, the answers are all provided for you. Thank you for being with me today. Hope to see you in another tutorial again on the past simple, but now with the present perfect. Thank you very much.